there is no sport that has a closer gap between like it looking easy than like racing. Because if you don't know anything, you can watch it and be like, yeah, I can turn too. And you don't know, because there's no way to tell that they're like experiencing a million G's.
That's especially true with NASCAR, where they just do oval. If it's an oval race course, that's why
I refuse to believe it's hard to drive a NASCAR car. I believe that. I swear to God, I refuse to believe it's hard. I bet that I bet if you took the four of us and we did nothing but train with like fucking. Is Richard Petty still alive? Like he trains us, okay? Whoever. The ghost of Dale Earnhardt can come back and train us all day, every day for 3 months. And I bet that we finish the race and it's not a laughing stock.
Kyle, speak for yourself. You've driven with me.
They're like, and holy shit, in the 99 car, Woody made
on a NASCAR track. I would lose my way around.
It's a left turn.
Yeah, but there's a million cars out there. You'd have to try and draft behind the good racers and stay in like the crescent of emptiness.
Whatever the one is in Carolina, Lowe's Motor Speedway or something, like they had an event there one time where they were selling classic car parts in the infield. They like filled the whole infield up with and we were buying parts for 55 Chevrolet Bel Airs. That's neither here nor there, but it gave me a chance to walk around on the track and see that crazy amount of banking. You can't tell on TV how huge that track is. But I was like, I got this. Any of us do. It's bullshit.
We just rented Atlanta Motor Speedway, which is a NASCAR track here for a Car Trek series that we ran.
Yeah.
And it was amazing because they gave it to us at night in the rain. And so, I was in a 620 horsepower Bentley Super Sports and and it was a blast. But, even then, this is at night in the rain in a car that's got, decent tires on it. We're doing 150 where they would have been doing 200, 220 miles an hour at times. And so it is a big, big difference.
Well, I think it's a big difference.
It's a big difference, but in between what?
There
he is. There he is.
I think you're back.
Sorry
about
that.
A momentary hiccup.
Yeah, had a glitch, but
we lost you at the main difference. Yeah.
Yeah, the main difference is when you're trying to get that extra 10, 20, 30% of the performance out of the car, that's where things get a little strange.
So you disagree at Kyle calling it laughable. And I quote.
The argument could be made when you think about the people that are driving these cars that are professional drivers, because more than half of the field in NASCAR is paying their way to be in the car. And so what that means is, and, Formula One is, maybe 30, 40%. So they're bringing sponsors, but the sponsor is dad's company, right? So these are situations where, yes, to prove your point, Woody, they are being trained to drive these cars. Now, they may have started to train at 7 or 12 or very, very young.
Yeah, they started on go-karts, sure.
But yes, you can teach anybody to drive reasonably quickly. They're not going to be at the front of the pack because those people are both naturally rich and gifted. But it's one of those situations where you can certainly get a long way. And I mean, I think there was a statistic once that Lewis Hamilton's family spent like $7 million on his driving career before he was paid.
Yeah.
So arguably the greatest driver in Formula One history, certainly the greatest in the grid right now. It took that much to get him there. And now he's certainly had staying power. He's won 7 world championships, but he didn't start from nothing, just, pulling
I think
a go-kart.
NASCAR, I think in NASCAR is a little bit like the UFC as well. The end of the year, you don't really care who's got who's got the belt or who has the most wins. I care about who was most entertaining, who did a fucking kickflip when they knocked the guy out, right? So all you got to do is just be a piece of shit, be loud, be the Colby Covington to keep that UFC parallel going of NASCAR, and I think you'd have a gig. Danica Patrick made a carear out of being cute.
I think she made her bones with GoDaddy, though, right?
That didn't help. It didn't hurt.
But I mean, the GoDaddy money was the winner there. Was she winning racing?
She had. Her car racer? Was fucking.
Was she that bad? I'm trying to. Money. There was one of the places, maybe it was NASCAR, where they said she had an advantage because she was so light.
A little bit lighter. She's like, you're saving what, 100 pounds in the car? Is that a gigantic?
Only
difference?
as good as my sources. I'm not really that
I
knowledgeable.
guess so. Now that I think about it, yeah.
So, but
Holy
she wasn't
shit.
saving 100 pounds. She was probably saving 50, 60. I mean, these kids aren't that tall. Some of them are big, but
I don't know. Remember Tony Stewart by the end? That man's 200 pounds at least. And Danica's like, I think I read once she was like right at 100, like maybe even 95. She's a little girl.
Yeah.
Woman, whatever. But
I mean, it makes sense.
And
Like,
even with
this
that
race was
advantage,
illegal.
she was a terrible, terrible, terrible driver. And they let her go around that track for years. What I'm saying is, you throw Taylor in that car, give him a cool middle name, like Shotgun Taylor or something.
Yes.
Remember Buckshot
Danger.
Jones? What a redneck fucking name. That guy drove around the track for years. I bet he never won a race, but his name was Buckshot.
So everybody liked him.
You know, this is my
he had
favorite
the best
story.
merch.
There was one racer. So there's like 31 racers in a NASCAR race or something. Like there's a bunch. And there was one guy, it didn't matter where he finished. ESPN would be like, all right, first place was Kyle, second place was Taylor. In 23rd place, Dick Trickle. His name was Dick Trickle, and they always told you how he did because he was Dick Trickle. They just like to say it.
He's always getting on ESPN. And so even though he's finishing 24th, household name in the F1 circuit.
I love cars. Like I like going to car shows and just looking at them. And when I see somebody, if I see somebody else stand too close to a nice car, I'm like, what are you thinking? What are you thinking? How dare you? Don't you know those jeans have rivets on the outside of them? Get the fuck away from that man's vehicle. But I've never been into like auto racing at all because of all the things we just talked about. You think it's hard to get into that brand new Ferrari. Try getting out there on the Atlanta Motor Speedway and representing for Chevrolet, even if you are a really good kid who's a driver. There's no and if you have the talent, you will play for the Yankees. If you have the talent, you will play for LA. But if you have the talent, you'll probably just keep working in that auto parts store and never get behind the wheel of a car.
Mm-hmm. Could be.
That
I
might
mean,
be
clearly
true.
most of them never get the chance because you have
It's
to be a fucking
interesting.
millionaire.
I don't know NASCAR that well, but in Formula One, when they consider what are called paid drivers, people who bring money to the team, they look at how good a driver he is and how much money he can bring in. Like, I suck at driving. So if I were to bring in $100 million, I might race Formula One. Yeah, sure, I crash it every weekend, but I make the team better with that. Maybe if I'm really good at driving and I bring in 10 million, they choose me over someone who's really great at driving because we win more races with Woody plus 10 million than a better driver plus 0. And these are the decisions they make in Formula One. And
Yeah, that's the economics of racing.
It's unfair. It's twisted. It's not right that they will keep a worse driver because he can pay his way into that seat. But being unfair is kind of what makes Formula One interesting. That your car is way better than mine. I am twice the driver you are, and I just barely keep up. Maybe I win in qualifying, but lose on race day, and it's not fair. Yeah, it's not.
I want open tryouts.
Find your way into a better seat. Find your way into it. That guy did it somehow. How are you going to get the better team to agree that you're a better driver so that they'll hire you instead of him? It's like,
if I owned a sports franchise, Taylor often talks about if he's a billionaire, he buys his local sports franchises and attempts to guide them to greatness, right? Even if it means losing money to do so. But I think I think that I would want to have open tryouts because I think that would, if I'm a fan, nothing would intrigue me more than my team having open tryouts for one of their positions. And I don't care what sport. I don't give a shit. It could be a sport I don't care about at all. But if I heard like a world championship soccer team was having open tryouts for their goalie, I'd be like, oh, really? So any like dude can walk up. Are they televising this? Can I buy a ticket? Like, I'd love to go see that. So like with Formula One, they've got those simulators. Why don't they fucking start a line? Like somebody's going to be driving the Ferrari car this year. We just don't know who yet. And put those fucking simulators outside of like in every major city and line people the fuck up. And let's take the top 10 guys and make a reality show and then have them race for Ferrari this year.
You know, the NFL did that.
That is more fun. Yeah, the Eagles, right?
Yeah, they made.
Oh, is that the movie with Marky Mark?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, and like nobody made the team.
What?
They've done that.
Several racing teams have just said,
Absolutely. Yeah, they've all
thinks
got
they have
driver
it?
development programs, and so
Course,
you're going to have
Mm-hmm.
people that are way down. They've even done it just based on esports performance, because in many ways it's a lot
What?
more like being in a simulator than being in a Honda on the street, and so they can tell if you're qualified. That being said, when you think about it from an advertising perspective versus the exposure that's available, it simply means that the sponsorships don't make the team's pencil. It's a losing proposition anyway. And so just because you're good enough doesn't mean that the business allows you to participate. It just means that, you might be able to find a seat somewhere if they actually, if somebody else was losing the money.
I like that they're recruiting from the video game players too, from like iRacing guys or whatever it may be, because the U.S. military's been doing that for years. I played Call of Duty 4 with a guy. He slayed. He was the best of us all. He was just so goddamn good. Now he got a job flying drones in Afghanistan, blowing people up, and they just kept promoting him over and over.
Oh, yeah.
They're fucking saluting this
perfect.
guy.
Talent
He's like, yeah, I'm a
identification.
10th fucking
They had to prestige him, send him back to the bottom.
He was a private again a few weeks.
After we promoted you, our terrorism deaths dropped off dramatically. We need you
It's
back.
Socrates I'm talking about. Like Socrates got into that drone program, and he was just like, yeah, dude, they've had me in that simulator for months. I've been flying missions over this place and that place. Sometimes the drone I'm flying is close away, and it was really cool stuff he was getting to do. And then it was like, yeah,
awesome.
Of course, who better than Socrates, who's fucking drop shotting and 360 and people for fun on COD 4.
Oh yeah, now he's fucking people up in Crash in real life. Now he's actually destroying public squares in the Middle East, off in the privacy
Everybody's
of
got
his
to go
Red
pro
Bull
in
fueled
something.
home.
Yeah,
Oh,
he's not
something
getting
about
PTSD.
the,
He's getting fucking achievements.